Hi, and welcome to the 10 square meter workshop. In my last video, I made a sled for my table saw that had zero height. Check it down below for details on this. There were some comments that it was just an extended mitre fence. Don't know about that, but I thought I would show that you can put the standard accessories on it. The first accessory I shall be making is a stop block, something that's used all the time with a sled. I shall be making this with a couple of pieces of scrap ply from the scrap box, 6mm and 18mm, and yes, that's all I will need. First I shall mark the height on the 18mm part, and use this to mark the cut line. I want it about 2mm shorter than that. I don't want it bottoming. Edge sanded, and that part is ready to go. The first job on the 6mm piece of ply is to drill a 6mm hole and then produce a slot 110mm long. I could do this on a router table, but I'm going to do it in my mill. This is a topic I should be covering in a future video. First I drill the hole. I then use a 6mm end mill, although I could have used a router cutter. The resulting slot is clean, square and parallel to the edges, as one would expect. This part was then cut to this shape. Before being glued, and pinned to the 18mm part. Next, from this piece of 5mm perspex, I cut out this 25 by 20mm square. With the edges cleaned up and the corners rounded, it was glued into place using super glue. Once set, a square was used to mark a groove on the reverse face of the perspex. This needs to be fairly deep. This groove was then filled with paint to make a mark line. The position of the slot was marked on the frame in two positions 105mm apart. 8mm holes were drilled here for the inserts. These were countersunk, and the inserts fitted. These are just below the surface. It's held in place by this turn bolt. With it fitted into position so the cut line is just covered, the position of the line on the perspex was marked.
A self-adhesive digital scale could then be added at that point. Taking care to line it up. The guide was then refitted and set to the 0 point. Calibration is completed by trimming the guide. I now have a stop block, allows me to cut repeatedly and accurately short lengths of wood. Just over 100mm long in the first slot and up to 200mm in the second. This accessory is compact, accurate and doesn't take up too much storage space. So I put another insert in the back bridge and it can live there within easy reach.
I then thought, what other accessories can I make? Well, there's a jig for making slots for box joints, but I already have that for my router table, and that's a much better place to cut them. Tenon cuts? Same thing. So I reverted to my machinist view that you make jigs when you need them and not before.
But what I did decide to do was to make a zero clearance insert for my table saw. First step was to copy the shape to this piece of corian and bandsaw it out. This is work surface. It's a sort of thermoplastic and ideal for this sort of application. About the right thickness too. First job was to make it parallel. I could do this on the router table, but my milling machine is way more accurate. Just a single pass to get it parallel. The blade never retracts the full depth of the plate, so I need to put a groove so it has space to be. With the rear marked out, I can put it back in the mill and cut the slot. The resulting slot is 8mm wide and 8mm deep where the blade goes, and all the way through where the riving knife goes. This is not where it needs support. With that done, I could mill it to width. I'm aiming for a 0.2mm clearance. I could put the piece on the rotary table and machine the ends round, but such accuracy is not really warranted, so I'm just going to do it freehand on a belt sander. After a few times round the loop, the insert now is a drop-in fit. Really quite stable. It's actually a bit flatter than the table itself. Last step is to raise the blade and cut the slot. There's some weights on it to make sure it doesn't lift. Yeah, it did start to lift. Problem was I didn't make the riving slot long enough. Quickly fixed. With that done, I could cut the slot to full length. And now the sled has a companion throat plate.
Well, that's all for this time. Hope to see you next time. Subscribe to make sure of it. Bye for now.